Starting take two in 3, 2, 1, go! Listen, Ronnie, I want to ask you something here. Does it bug you to death when you're about to enjoy dinner or lunch or breakfast, whatever meal you're going to be enjoying, you're just about to dig in, or no, you've dug in already, you've had a few bites, you're enjoying it, it's tasty, where, unfortunately, you find a hair in your food. Does that turn you off, or am I only a neurotic ninny here, where I will literally not finish my food if I find a piece of hair in it? And it's so good, and I can't even grasp the fact that there's a piece of hair in there. I can't finish it.
Well, I'm with you on that. I can't either.
Yeah.
Especially if it's not mine.
I know. Well, I don't know if it's mine or not. It's like, is it mine? Because if it is mine, I will eat it. But I don't know. Yeah. I'm like, I see it. I don't know. Did my eyelash fall in there? Did it? I don't know. It just turns me off so much. It bugs me. I know it's random. A random thing I just added to the show. But, that's me. I'm Mr. Random. But welcome to Take Two right here on the Voices on the Net Network. Thank you all for taking the time to join us. That is right. As we edge this much more closer to the 300th episode show. This is not the 300th episode, but we are literally right on the brink of it. Ronnie's going to, of course, make it official. She knows what episode it is. She'll check into... She has an envelope over there, I'm pretty sure. But she has it in the back of her mind. How can you not know what episode it is? But we're going to have her make it official in just a bit. We're going to rip another sheet of paper off of that countdown calendar, I'll tell you. So exciting. Really is exciting here. At Take Two right here on the Voices on the Net Network. But before we get into all of that, a great program for you all. So stay tuned. If all of you tuned in right now, though, would be so kind as the great listeners, please visit www.theonthenet.com. That is right, the Voices on the Net Network's website, where you will be able to find more information regarding the Voices on the Net Network. Yeah, in order to check that information out, just go to the top of the website. You'll see an About link. You click it, and it will take you to a web page providing you everything you need to know pertaining to this network here. And in thorough detail. Really a great guide for those of you that may be, say, new to the network, you don't know much about it. Really a guide for those of you that would like to learn more about it. Many people email me and they're like, is this a show? The Voices on the Net Network here? No. Well, Voices on the Net is the network. Take Two is a show. A Session with JJ is a show. So a network that hosts a multitude of shows. But you could also check out and listen to podcasts of any of the episodes from any of the shows. And they're all available on demand for and at your very own convenience. You could also check out my blog, articles, so much content, great content. Go to the website to check it out at www.theonthenet.com. So, this is an exciting moment. I understand the 300th episode is going to be a very special moment for us, for everybody tuned in right now. Hopefully you'll tune in for the 300th episode. But this is a very, very special moment, too, because this only happens once, too. The show before the 300th episode. This only happens once, so this is in many cases as special as the 300th episode, Ronnie. So you know exactly what episode it is. So reach into that envelope over there as we rip another sheet of paper, that final sheet of paper before the 300th episode. So, Ronnie, what episode are we at?
According to my Post-it note, episode 299.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, episode number 299 of the show. Wow. Glad to be here. Glad to be by your side, Ronnie, as always. Yeah. And glad to have each and every one of you taking the time to tune in to the show. Like I stated before, and like I state every episode, we have a great one for you. So much on the itinerary. You really don't want to you don't want to tune out. You want to stay tuned. As a matter of fact, go let everybody know that the show is on so they can join us. Join all of you. But as I was talking about before, Ronnie, I know it was random, but it bugs the heck out of me. It really does. I
Give
don't
me
know.
that furball feeling in my mouth.
It's like
Just to hear that.
I have a cat, all right? I have a cat. So, oh boy, if she's in the same vicinity or in the vicinity of me while I'm eating, it's not out of the ordinary where I'll have a piece of her hair in my tea, my cup of tea or a drink or my food. But it's like I'm very neurotic when I find a piece of hair in my food. You know, if I'm going out somewhere, then it's even more neurotic because, oh my gosh, you know, you don't want to get sick from somebody else's hair. They have dandruff in their hair, it falls in the food, you eat it, and you get sick. So I'm very neurotic when it comes to that. Are you the same way when you see a piece of hair in your food? Anybody listening, you feel me? Do you understand what I'm saying? It makes me cringe. It really does.
It does with me because I remember looking at these little pieces of hair, human hair, that either had the lice hanging onto it or whatever, and it just, ever since then, if it's not my own hair, I can't eat it. It grosses me out. If I'm out eating someplace, it's done. You're getting the food back, or you're getting, I want my money back. I'm done. I don't want your hair.
But it's like you dig in, you're enjoying the meal up until the point you notice there's a piece of hair in there. What you don't know won't hurt you. So if you don't know what's in there, you're going to eat it. You don't know, all right? But you see it, and it's like, oh, this is so good. Now I have to decide whether I want to finish it with the hair in it or not. Take it out, but still, it was in there. It's like, oh, it's just such a tease. It's like, literally, oh, you're just laughing at me as I pull you out of my food. I want to eat this food, this great meal, and I can't because you're in there. You were in there. So annoying. So annoying.
Now, what were you eating? Because that could be an important factor.
What's up?
What were you eating? Because that could be an important factor for some people to say, oh, I'll just go ahead and finish the meal.
Well, that's the thing. It could be anything if I find a piece of hair in there. Unless I know it's my own. Unless it isn't my own. Unless it is my own. I won't finish it. I can't. It's like I can't do it. It won't. I'm like, oh, this is such a turnoff. I have to literally go get another plate, or I have to go, It's just a huge... And again, I bring up the fact again that if it is from, say, a fast food restaurant or someplace, I literally... I just can't, It's a pet peeve of mine. I just cannot do it.
Well, I'm with you on that. There's no way I can do that.
Yeah.
Even if I have not even... It even makes me sick to find out I've eaten most of a meal. And all of a sudden, towards the end, there's a hair. I'm done. I can't even eat anymore, let alone keep what I ate down, because I don't know what was on that hair. I know if it's mine because it's going to take a year to get it out of the food. But somebody else's, I cannot do it. Cannot do it. Even when I go out to eat, or even if you're cooking at home on some people's houses, if they're touching the food and I have not watched them wash their hands before touching the food,
right,
that irritates the heck out of me. I cannot eat it because I don't know. I have to visually see you either wash your hands or know that you did. Or wear gloves.
The thing is, though, the food is so yummy. It's so tasty. You're loving it. You're enjoying it so much. Why should one little hair make any difference whatsoever? Especially, say it's a home-cooked meal and it's from your family. You know that. How could one little piece of hair really make that much of a difference? More than likely, you hope your family, you hope anybody showers regularly. So more than likely, perhaps that one little piece of hair that's sitting at the top of your food, your meal, is clean, and so forth. You're hoping that the person that cooked it is a clean person too. You can't imagine that the food was significantly contaminated either, right? But it's just... makes me nauseate. I'm nauseated by it. I get so nauseous over it. So I guess I can't get past that the fear. I can't get past that fear. For instance, if I say we're on the show Survivor, if I was on the show Survivor, Fear Factor, that show, I don't even know if it's on anymore. I know that they were talking about bringing it back. I'm not even sure. But if I were on any of these shows and they were to issue me a challenge, literally, and they were to place food with hair in front of me, I'd probably cringe. I don't know how I'd be able to do it. I don't know how I would be able to do it. I'd be like, oh, my goodness. It's literally one of my largest pet peeves is hair in my food. Yeah.
Well, knowing the fear factor, if you had a choice between eating a live worm or cockroach versus hair in the food, which one would you choose?
If I had to choose between the two?
Yeah.
the thing is, listen, if I'm on a show like Survivor or Fear Factor, I'll do it more than likely. There's an incentive, a money incentive. I'm literally in front of the entire world's watching me. And listen, instinct and so forth and guts kick in and so forth when you're playing a game, or when you have to do it in order to get to the next round or whatever. You more than likely you'll grin and bear it because there's quite a bit on the line. So I would probably do it if I had to choose. Like I said, I'd probably do either one. I'd probably have to go for believe it or not, the hair, seriously, because I've it's a worm, in other words, or whatever, seriously. If I had to choose, if you're going to give me the choice, I'd probably choose the food with the hair in it. But they wouldn't. Yeah. I don't think they do that though. I don't think they would place a tasty meal with hair, in it. I don't think they would do that. I think that's only gross, like coagulated blood or something, or something disgusting, or a bull's penis. I don't know, something like that. They do stuff like that. They add those things to the challenges. It's more along the lines of that. So,
yeah, the one I watched, and I haven't been able to watch it since. I heard the crunching sound, and ooh. They made her eat a cockroach. These big, they should eat 5 of them. All I heard was her crunching. I was done. I was like sinking in my chair. Just, even though you haven't even tasted any yet, your mouth still starts to water because you just know.
You got to give them credit.
How that tastes.
You got to give them credit, though, guys. Everybody tuned in right now. By the way, thank you all for taking the time once again to tune in. You got to give them credit, though, folks, that these people that do these things on TV for us, and now for them too, they're going to make money if they win. You got to imagine some of the emotions they must be going through on the show while they're doing this. I mean, while they're going through these challenges, because they're going. It's not only the physical demand that you're required to maintain in order to get through these challenges, but it's the psychological demand. It's how are you going to get through eating all of this stuff to finish the challenge. You don't want to let your team down. You don't want to let yourself down. You don't want to let your fans down. So it's like, what are you going to do to get through this? So you imagine what they must be going through on the show. Now, I'm a huge Survivor fan. I like these types of shows. And I look at some of the things that they do on the show. You imagine, I put myself in their shoes, listen, it's the intensity, the adrenaline kicks in. I'm sure you're like, I've got to do this. What am I going to do? Not do this and be voted off? No, I've got to do it. It's only one time, so I'm going to grin and bear it, hold my nose, and that's it. Right?
Not for a cockroach.
There you go.
I'm done. I would have to let the team down at that point.
Well, like I said, I'm Mr. Random. I wanted to bring that up. It was bugging me because just the other day it happened to me where I found a hair in my food. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't. This is ridiculous. I can't do this. But getting into what was on the itinerary here, again, as I stated, I am Mr. Random, but this right here was set. This is set in stone. We are going to go into this. Ronnie, would you give the internet up, but for the rest of your life, for $1 million? Listen to this, though. Talk about it. The internet is really our lives these days. Could you even manage $1 million without the internet? It's like crazy to even ask this question, but it's posed on foxbusiness.com, a great article here that we're basing this off of. But I posed the question to you, Ronnie. Would you give up the internet for the rest of your life for $1 million?
That would be hard. What? No WoW, no Facebook, no
nothing.
Research, no
Nothing.
School.
Nope.
No email.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nada. For $1 million bucks.
Oh my gosh. For the rest of my life?
The rest of your life. You couldn't touch a computer with the internet for the rest of your life. Then again, this is a hypothetical question because how could anybody know whether you're going to be using the internet or not if you're being paid? Yeah. They're going to follow you wherever.
To use it. Use it in your car. If you have the car in there, you use it at work.
I think really what it is I think the hypothetical question was brought up because at one point or another there were people that did survive without the internet.
Yeah.
At one time or another people got by. It might have been a bit tougher. I mean, things were slower, but they did get by.
But they didn't incorporate it at that time. Now everything is incorporated in that. No matter where you go is the internet.
Right. Yeah.
That you have to move me to an island and probably teach me all over again how to live without it.
Yeah.
because it's been around most of my life.
Yeah. I could tell you right now, I would not. I wouldn't give it up for $1 million. I really wouldn't. Because the amount of innovation that occurs on the internet, first off, I look at it like this. In my lifetime, with the internet, I'm banking on making more than $1 million in my lifetime thanks to the internet. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I'm probably going to enjoy the fact that I'm going to get $1 million up front all at once. But I'm giving the internet up, so I have that in my pocket right then and there. However, I would rather take a longer-term payment thanks to the innovations that I'm hopefully going to be ensuing upon thanks to the internet over receiving the $1 million. And I think a lot of people would agree with me on that. I really do. I think if you were asked that question, if you would give the internet up for $1 million, I think most people listening would say no. They would not give the internet up for $1 million.
No.
I'm telling you.
Not for the rest of their life.
Not for the rest of their lives, no.
I mean, maybe if they did it for a month, maybe a year, but for the rest of their life, no.
Nope.
Because everything is computerized. Everything is. So I don't know. That would be an impossible task for the rest of your life, especially when you can make much more than that on the internet, either selling different items that you're doing, selling your inventions, selling your ideas, putting yourself out there, such as this network. Mm-hmm.
Listen, this question is posed because the internet has just surpassed the 2 billion user mark. There are over 2 billion people on the internet worldwide. 2 billion people. That is astonishing. I can't believe how quick it's growing. I really can't. It's amazing. It really is a surreal. It is surreal to think about that number. 2 billion people on the internet. 2 billion people connected with one another. You could talk to anybody from around the world that's on the internet. Out of those 2 billion people, that's a lot of people right there. So this question is posed because of that. But this study here from the Fund for American Studies asked, how much would someone have to pay you to give up the internet for the rest of your life? Would $1 million be enough? 20 million? How about $1 billion? Would you give the internet up for $1 billion? Would that make any difference? Would that one lump sum, $1 billion, be enough to get you to give the internet up? Now listen how what I brought up before, because that was posed leading up to this point. For $1 billion, you're receiving it all up front. I'm basing $1 million off of my entire lifetime. I hope I'd make more than $1 million over the entire lifespan of however long I'm going to live. Now, say I live 50 more years, or 60 more years, or even 20 more years. I'm banking that I'm going to make more than $1 million in that time period. But $1 billion, I'm probably not going to even come close to $1 billion. I mean, unless something miraculous happened. $1 billion is a lot of money over even a lifetime.
That's a lot of money.
So, would you give the internet up for $1 billion? That's a bit more tedious. I tell you, I still wouldn't give the internet up. I know it sounds crazy, but I wouldn't. I couldn't live without the internet. I could not. I'd go crazy. With the money, would allow me to go out on vacation all the time. I guess I'd be able to do other things, but it's like I still need to somehow be connected. In other words, the interaction that I receive on the internet is very important to me, I guess. I know it sounds crazy, but I wouldn't. What about you? I
don't think I could. Not for the rest of my life, because everything that you do is entwined in that. I mean, you're talking to family. Look what you're doing now. People don't even have home phones anymore. It's either cell phones, or you're going on Facebook or email or whatever. No, I don't think I could, because everything that you've got thus far happens to be computers.
Right.
No matter what you're doing. Even if you had the $1 billion, would they allow you to fly? Because that's a computer system. To the degree you have identity processes, your banking is also internet. So you have to give that up, right? For $1 billion?
Well, understand this, Ronnie, that while banking is clearly an easier process for anybody that does it on the internet, remember that before the internet was around, people banked without it. People went to the bank and they dealt with it fine. However, I think we've gotten spoiled. We've gotten spoiled because of how easy things are. How easy any process, whatever it is, whether it's banking, whether it's Placing an order, I could tell you, when I'm ordering things, whether it's from Domino's Pizza or the local Chinese food place even has a way you can order online. I order my food online now. It's like I've really gotten spoiled. Things are that much easier. I don't have to, open up more than one device. I can simply stay on my computer, place an order, watch a movie, do a show. I can do everything at once using one device. It's so... I've gotten spoiled to a point where now I'm dependent on it. Now there's no turning back. It's like I've got this. I've got the internet. We all have it at our this information at our fingertips. We need to now. We now have to depend on this stuff. This technology now. This guy's name is Michael Cox, Professor Michael Cox. I believe he's the lead. He was the lead study. Lead author of this study, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But he stated, quote, "When I asked my students this question, they stated, you couldn't pay me enough to get off the internet. You couldn't pay me enough to get off the internet." Isn't that interesting? Not so much to me, though, because I told you before, if I were to ask each and every one of you listening, everybody listening, I think many of you wouldn't give it up. You would not give up the internet for any amount of money. You couldn't. There's too much dependability. You're dependent on it too much. Too much.
Everything is. Look, if you look at the libraries, they're now online versus going to the library itself. Now it's more online. Everything, and as you advance through your lifetime, everything is going to become even more advanced than what it is now. So you don't even know what you're giving up in the future, but you know what you're giving up right now, but not in the future. What's the future hold for us? So. Right. That would be hard to do. No, I couldn't do it. I'd have to stick with my internet.
It's really weighing the options. It's weighing the options. It's what are you going to lose for that $1 million? What are you going to lose for that $20 million? What are you going to lose for that $1 billion? Weighing the options. All right, $1 billion, $20 million, internet, it's email, gaming, banking online, doing things a lot easier. Every piece of content in the world, available at my fingertips. A lot, the ability to go to college online. There's so many things. Streaming media. It's like everything is digital. Everything is. It's like, are you weighing all of those options when you're being asked this question? And that's what you have to place. You have to place that into perspective when you're being asked this question. Because if somebody were to come up to you right now, say, "Listen, Ronnie, I'll give you $20 million right now. I'll give you it right here. I'll literally I'll deliver a safe with $20 million, all yours, if you rescind your internet use for the rest of your life." And I'm telling you, while you think about it, you'll go the route of not giving the internet up. It's I know it's so surreal to even say that. It's so much money, but it's like, can all the money in the world buy, the love of somebody, the real true love of somebody? It's like there are certain things that maybe money can't buy. Mm-hmm. But in this case, the internet gives you the chance, the opportunity to make. Basically, it's endless. You can make as much money as you want on the internet, being innovative, having a little luck on your side. But you have the ability to make that much money, if not more. So it's like, all right, I'm gonna give up receiving one lump sum, but I'm banking on making way more than that. I'm banking on making more than that, along with keeping my email, keeping my gaming, keeping my streaming media, keeping everything I have at my fingertips, right there. So yeah, I think it's not as surprising as many may think that people are giving that up or stating they're not going to give the internet up for any amount of money whatsoever. But interesting article, interesting question right there. Absolutely. So I'm glad we did go into that. We do have to move into the associations. That is right. If you're new to the program, that's right. Ronnie and I, we associate just random things with each episode number. In other words, this is episode number 299. So we'll associate things with episode number 299. So we're going to do that. We will. Right now, we're going to have Ronnie start us off with the first one, as she always does. So what do you got? What do you got for us over there, Ronnie? You got a good one for us?
Back on November 2010 in London, an American man by the name of Edwin Rist he actually stole, get this, 299 colorful stuffed birds from the Natural History Museum. Now, these birds they are extinct.
Yeah.
They took the bird. He stole all these birds. Now, we don't know if it's at one time or not, but they were rare bird skins from the British Museum that he was able to take and steal and got away with. They did charge him. We have no idea what he actually got out of it, but he did steal the 299 rare bird skins. You would think it'd be feathers, not skins.
Who would do that? I guess you're a. If
How
you're
do you
a
get away
bird
with that?
lover, it's like, but
They
also,
don't,
how
they
do
don't
you get-
notice that they're missing 299 of them.
And this is bird skin.
Bird skins.
Bird skins. I want to know who would do something like that, unless you're a bird lover that you're addicted to birds. It's similar to somebody that literally follows something their whole life. They're addicted to something, and if you're addicted to like tornadoes, you need to literally go, like you, Ronnie. You need to literally be face to face with a tornado in order for you to be occupied. It's like or satisfied. It's like,
Yeah, they were actually they're soon to be extinct. That's how they're low in numbers is actually out there in the wild.
Yeah.
But these were actually stuffed birds. So I wonder why they're extinct. They're stuffed, okay? But he took out all of those birds. Now, I wanted to know how he got away with it, and they didn't notice that, this bird population in this museum is getting a little low. They didn't even notice it.
It's like you have people that will stoop to their level of stealing money from a bank, or they'll go to a store and they'll steal things to benefit them. While it's wrong to steal, they're doing it just because they have no choice in their minds. Yet you have this guy who's not going to the length of stealing money or going to a store and stealing products, but he's stealing bird skins. So
Skins.
yeah.
There's no feathers on I don't understand what they talk about skins, because now, first of all, some of the brides' dresses that you see out there, the type of material is actually made with feathers,
Right.
and bird
Yeah,
skin. So
I know.
maybe he has some kind of a fetish in that department.
It's
but
possible.
No,
It's possible. Definitely odd. That's possible. All right, well, I've got one for you guys and gals. Get this here. Now, usually when somebody receives a pension, that is a point in their lives where they put their dedication and their passion into whatever it is they did for their lives, for their careers, and they've retired, and now they depend on somebody to pay them rather than them working and somebody paying them. They just simply can relax, enjoy life. You receive money, in other words. How about receiving over $100,000 in pension per year? That's pretty nice, actually. I think we'd all be happy with that. Not doing anything, literally. You could sit around, watch Judge Judy, and receive $10,000 plus a month. Well, the fact is, in Hartford, Connecticut, the number of retired state employees collecting annual pensions of more than $100,000 has risen. Get this, from 175 individuals in 2008 to 299 in 2010. 299, and this is only Hartford, Connecticut, ladies and gentlemen. Over $100,000 in pensions. So I guess you could say there were quite a few hard workers in Hartford, Connecticut that literally worked their rear ends off and are receiving this much money in pensions, and
or overpaid.
Or they're overpaid. Let me go over some of the amounts that some of these people are making. Why not? Somebody by the name of Gregory Anderson. He was a former dean. He is making per year pensions $174,744 in pensions. Now it's a lot, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, how about we up the ante a bit here, Mr. Harry Hartley? Get this. He is making $197,009 in pensions. And then we're going to go to the number one guy here. The number one on the list here. We have Mr. John Vega. He was a professor. He was a professor here, making $257,362.21 in pension.
Hey, professor.
Well, this is a pension, too. It's not as if he's making this as he's working. He worked, he put his time in, and he's making this much money. Pretty amazing, absolutely. So there you have it. What about a funny law, Ron? You got one for us over there?
Yes. of course. One comes from Tennessee state law. It is under the common criminal offense category under Chapter 299, where it is a fine of $25 can be levied for flirting. It's an old law that prohibits men from turning around on any city street and looking at a woman in that way. A second conviction of the crime is a magnitude that calls for the violation of a male to be forced to wear a pair of horse blinders wherever and whenever he goes out on a stroll.
Huh? What? So you can't look at another gal because what?
In that way.
In that way.
Right. Down the street, don't turn around and look at her because you will be forced to wear horse blinders.
And where is this?
Tennessee.
Oh. Interesting. I have nothing to say. Really.
They must have a problem with that one.
I guess apparently so. Well, thank you, Ronnie. Appreciate that. All right, we're going to get into Ronnie's stamp of reparation in just a bit, but it is time to thank our sponsor. That's right, this portion of the 299th episode, one more until we're at the 300th episode. This portion of this 299th episode of Take Two is brought to you by none other than Audible.com, and we thank Audible for their generous support of the Take Two program as well as the Voices on the Net network. Now, listen up, because Ronnie and I have an excellent deal for each and every one of you, and you don't have to spend a single dime. You don't have to spend a single cent, no risk involved whatsoever. Really, the premier service on the web here, Audible, in terms of audiobooks. With over 85,000 audiobooks and counting, how can you go wrong? How can they go wrong? I mean, they're going to be the premier service on the web. We're going to give you one free audiobook and a 14-day, that's right, a 2-week free trial to browse the selection of audiobooks offered at Audible. In order to take advantage of this, no risk involved whatsoever, you go to audibletrial.com/take2 right now. That's right, audibletrial.com/take2 to take advantage of your free audiobook and the free trial. You know you want it. You know you want to try it out, at least. No money whatsoever up front. Because I'll tell you, Ronnie and I are both subscribers, and we enjoy it quite a bit. It's really an experience to try out because you don't have to pick up a book and traditionally read word for word visually. You know, it's listening to your favorite books and the engagement. The voiceover artists that voice these books, they add the dramatic appeal, the comedic appeal. They'll engulf you in the story. You close your eyes. It's literally like watching a movie. It is. That's how great they are. Try it out. If you don't want to take my word for it, at least try it out so you can find out firsthand. audibletrial.com/take2 to take advantage of one free audiobook and a 14-day free trial. That's right. As always, we thank Audible for their support of the Take Two program, as well as the Voices on the Net network. Thank you, Audible. It is much appreciated. All right, Ronnie, what do you got for us in your stamp?
How many employees from the government do you think it takes to screw in a light bulb in your house, JJ?
No idea.
Well, hopefully none, because you know what? So far, the government has done this to us in the past. Oh, let's go back 6 years. They force us to buy fuel-efficient cars. That's all right to a degree. Depends on how much you charge me for that hybrid. 2, what we are allowed to eat, or basically what we are allowed to eat outside of our house, what you can eat inside of your house, and of course, now it's what you can screw into your light socket. Let me just tell you what. First of all, if I want to screw a banana in my light socket, it's none of their gosh darn gone business. But they want us now to buy, of course, you know, that ice cream looking cone and put it into our home. These cost anywhere between $6, and I checked out the prices here, are $10 per bulb, where I can buy 4 of the normal ones for, guess what, $2.99, and still have a decent light system going on and last me far longer than the ice cream ones. They are actually wanting us now. They're going to stop making these, actually, not the ice cream, but my cheapos are going to stop making these. Now, what supposedly is going to start saving us, a whopping anywhere from $25 to $45 a year. Is supposed to do this for us. You know, we save the energy, save the people, save the planet. Instead, we are now going to be paying out more to use these light bulbs because they don't use as much energy, so they say, but it is going to actually increase because the power grid is now part of the system. They have taken this issue all the way, of course, to our government. So now they're going to determine that we, the people, do not know what to put into our own light sockets. So they're going to take that burden off of us, JJ. So there's no more the blonde jokes of how many blondes it takes to screw in the light bulb. There's none of that going to be allowed anymore because they have taken that burden. And I'm just so relieved that that stress relief is done. But we're only talking about 30 to 40 cents
Right.
that you're going to be saving every time you screw in this light bulb. We're not saving any other money. We are actually spending more money. But thanks to our government, I don't have to worry about that. Maybe I don't even need a ladder. But I'm still going to try to, if I can put my finger on it, it gives me a new hairdo. That's not their business. That's mine.
Right.
They need to stay out of my front door. If I don't invite you in, don't tell me what I want to put in my house.
Yeah. You know,
That's
I find it ridiculous that it's, you know what, I'm not necessarily against, you know, some regulation out there, but it seems that the government really wants to stick their beak in wherever it is, whatever it is I'm doing, whether it's screwing a light bulb in, cooking a pot of pasta, or going to the bathroom. It's like, do you want to regulate each and every one of those processes? It's like, what does it matter what light bulb I screw in my socket?
I know.
It sounds so wrong, but
it's
seriously.
true. I mean, if you want to put a banana in there, that's your business. Not theirs. Not to mention the fact now they're going to regulate what kind of a toilet you can have in your house because, you know, you're going to have to go serve the flushes.
Ridiculous.
But a light bulb? Oh, they need to stay away from mine because it's not going to happen. Because I've tried one of those ice cream ones. I know there's a real name for it. I like the ice cream because it looks like that.
Makes you hungry. You know what? They were created for. It's like one thing leads to another. You hook it in, it makes you hungry. You run right down to the your local ice cream shop. Go get a cone, an ice cream cone, and they make money off of that. So
that's right. So maybe there is a purpose.
There you go. I guess.
Yeah, but I tried one to see what it was like. Didn't make the lighting any differently, but it did actually burn out in less than 2 weeks. I went back to using my old bulbs. I'm still using them.
Yeah, well, I've been using the same light bulbs for years, and you know what? I'm going to continue to use the same light bulbs for years unless I want to choose another one. And you know what? That's my choice. I can decide.
That's right.
I know, I'm a big boy. I know how to decide which light bulb I want to place in my sockets. All right, I could choose that. Well, thank you, Ronnie, for your stamp. We appreciate it. Got to head to the break. That is right on this 299th episode of the show. But don't go anywhere because Ronnie and I are going to be back to talk about quite a bit. That is right. Netflix has angered its customers again. Yeah. This time, it has to do with their packages, their media packages. What's going on with Netflix? Well, we're going to talk a bit about that. It has to do with their packages. A little tease for you. Also, is technological multitasking ruining our abilities to communicate? Yeah, is it? Well, one person thinks so. Could you imagine working somewhere, say, a retail store, an office, wherever, doctor's office, and not multitasking? I'd multitask on a regular basis. I've got 5 computers in front of me, and they're all running something. Imagine me only using this one right here. I don't know if I could do it. I don't know, Ronnie. Well, we're going to talk about that as well as your blast from the past. So much coming up. You know you don't want to go anywhere. Ronnie and I return right after the break, so stay tuned. Well, welcome back, everybody. That is right. Ronnie and I are back for the second segment on this 299th episode of Take Two, right here on the one and only Voices on the Net Network. Appreciate having all of you taking the time to join us. We have quite a bit more to talk about. You'll want to stay tuned. Before we get into everything, if all of you tuned in right now would be so kind as the great listeners, please visit www.theonthenet.com. That's right, the Voices on the Net Network's website. You'll be able to find more information regarding the Voices on the Net network. And all you have to do is go up to the top of the website. You'll see an About link. You click it, and it will take you to a web page that will provide you everything you need to know pertaining to this network here and in thorough detail. Really a great guide for those of you that are new to the network, maybe new to the network, you don't know much about it. Well, that's the page. That's the guide to check out. could also check out podcasts to listen to podcasts of any of the episodes from any of the shows, and they're all available on demand for and at your very own convenience. They're all there for you. You could also check out my blog. There's articles, so much content, all at www.theonthenet.com. Welcome back, Ronnie.
Well, thank you, JJ. Same to you.
Very welcome. Thank you. Second segment time. Quite a bit to talk about. So, what do you say we start with one right here? You want to start off with one right here? All right. We've got something that has to do with Netflix here. We've talked about Netflix before. We have. And they have a history here of angering their customers. Although it's interesting to me, Ronnie, it is, because I look at Netflix, I look at just how dominating they are. Blockbuster used to be the dominating video provider really out there for so long until Netflix came along and just sweep them away, really. I mean, Netflix came along with the ability to do what you would do at Blockbuster, only from the comfort of your own home. And then they offer people the ability to stream their favorite movies right on their computer or their TV, if you have a console, or any device that allows you to do so. So it would seem to me that anything along those lines would be great. Why would customers be angry at a company like this? Well, you're paying, for instance, for what you want. It's comparable, in other words, to this. I'll bring this up just to tease you before getting into it. The internet service providers that are getting greedy, and they're basically they're testing to the fact they believe that, well, bandwidth is limited. There's not an unlimited amount out there, so we have to limit it. And if you go over it, you have to pay extra. So they give you bandwidth caps, in other words. To be able to use only a certain amount every month. Cellular companies are doing it, internet service providers are doing it. Well, Netflix is kind of following suit in that rather than, offering the ability to have an unlimited streaming plan as well as unlimited DVDs for a set amount, we're going to get rid of that, and we're going to offer you two separate plans. So you could either A, go with unlimited streaming, but no DVDs, not one DVD, only unlimited streaming, though, for $7.99 a month. Or Plan 2, you can get unlimited DVDs, but unlimited DVDs one at a time, but no streaming for $7.99 a month. $7.99 a month. So Plan 1, unlimited streaming, no DVDs for $7.99, and Plan 2, unlimited DVDs one out at a time, no streaming though, for $7.99 a month. Or you could get both of those for just under $16 a month. Now, beforehand, it was what? It was $9.99 a month for both unlimited streaming and unlimited DVDs. So now you're paying almost double the amount for that. So they're still giving you the option, but they've increased their prices, but also offered two separate plans, only shaved off quite a bit. I'll tell you, do they know about supply and demand? I'm just throwing that out here right there. I want to know, supply and demand. Would you rather lose thousands of customers by hiking your prices, or, setting it at a fair price? A fair price, $9.99 a month is a fair price, I'd say. And go more along the lines of the quantity. Go along the quantity lines rather than focusing on, hiking your prices and then hoping everybody's going to stay. You know what I mean? I just think it seems like a stupid business decision. It does.
Yeah. Especially when you consider that now you have your cable companies. I know mine's doing it, where I can either go online or on my television and pay $5.99 a month for unlimited movie access. Whatever they have on their pay-per-view, I can get for $5.99. Same thing. And I can go to the local Redbox and get one for $1.99 out of the machine that I can use and watch at my leisure when I want to, whatever, and bring it back. Because you can't really watch. If you think about how many movies can you actually watch, if you're out there, you're working, you're already have other things going on and planned.
Right.
To fit in that one movie, are you going to actually watch 16 plus movies a month? No, really, you're not. So yeah, there's too much competition. They first they tried to monopolize it to where they got, blockbusters have gone down. Even the smaller businesses that try to do it in smaller towns have actually lost to the Redbox and to Netflix. But now I think that they're almost at the point where they think, okay, now we've monopolized the system. We can now raise the money because there's really not any competition. But I think they forgot about cable companies that are doing the same thing at a cheaper cost because you already have the package going on. Let alone now you're adding the $5.99 cost on top of that to have the unlimited viewing, streaming either via computer or your television.
Right.
So where's Netflix coming from? Because I used to use Netflix until they stopped allowing me to, I wasn't receiving more DVDs in the mail. I stopped, and I'm glad that I actually stuck with that decision.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to go into this next here. The reason I said it's kind of a dumb business move in terms of hiking your prices when you were doing very well. I mean, everybody and their mother was heading over to Netflix. I mean, just about everybody I know has a Netflix account. So it's a very popular company. So hiking your prices can lead to one thing, and that's, well, increased competition. And I'm glad you brought that up because Blockbuster was really out of the game. I mean, they were not in the same league as Netflix. Now they have the chance to step up and bring themselves back in the game thanks to the hike in prices. So that was why in the terms of what Netflix in the sense of what Netflix has done, they're now opening the doors to allow Blockbuster in to make a move. They can promote their own pricing scheme to simply combat what Netflix has done, which might not be such a bad idea to move over to Blockbuster if they do, say, offer a $9.99 or similar, pricing plan for unlimited, streaming and DVDs. I don't know. The thing is, I haven't really been keeping up to date with what Blockbuster really has been offering, but I'm assuming Blockbuster does offer a streaming plan. I know we've talked about it, but I can't remember. Let me just look it up quickly. I think they do offer streaming movies as well as the ability to download or to rent movies as well, unless it's only simply getting them via DVD. All right, let's see what we have. They have on-demand movies. Okay, so they have on-demand movies on their website. So they do have a streaming media. I don't think it's as big as Netflix though. But either or, regardless, this is a chance. In other words, if you want to enhance your collection, you want to enhance the on-demand collection, you're going to need to obtain more customers so you can purchase the ability to stream more movies. I think really what Netflix has done here, they've opened the door for Blockbuster. If Blockbuster wants to take advantage of this, they can. We know Blockbuster can do it. They've been at the top for some time, even before Netflix came along. So clearly they can do it. They just have to make the proper business decision. They now have a means to take advantage of this move from Netflix. They do.
Yeah, because now Blockbusters and even your cable companies can now say checkmate.
Well, that's the other thing.
You can only become greedy for so long before people are they're fed up. This is definitely the wrong move. In the beginning, when they got rid of the mailing out the DVDs and so forth, okay, I accepted that. I thought it was a wrong move, but I thought, well, okay, I'll give it a chance. I didn't sign back up for it though. Other people did. They got a mass influx of all these people. I think they saw the numbers and decided, hey, we are in demand. They want us. So therefore, if we raise those prices and divide it up, we're going to make X amount of money.
Right.
And they think they're going to keep the same customers. They were so wrong. They had a good deal going if they would have kept it going. Instead, they have now opened up that door for the cable companies to step in, which are far more powerful than Netflix is. Then you have Blockbuster. I do like Blockbuster, even though you don't really see them much anymore. They're mostly online, especially here, that you can go on and rent without even walking the door. There's no late fees or anything like that used to be out there. You can still choose if you're a member of their program.
Right.
But I like my version better. It's cheaper for me. I think it's cheap. Everybody, I think the cable companies, and no matter where you live at, your cable company is going to actually, I think, live up to their potential on this particular deal, thanks to Netflix's oddity in their decision.
Right. Well, the fact is, and the reason I like Blockbuster's chances here of moving in because of what Netflix has done, Because we know Netflix allows you to stream the media on other devices. Your television, you have an Xbox 360, a PS3. You can stream it on other devices, but so can Blockbuster. I mean, Blockbuster allows you to watch the streaming media on a Blu-ray player, on a mobile device, a computer. They have the same way and the comparable ways to what Netflix offers you. So the only thing is enhancing the collection. Whereas if people from Netflix move over to Blockbuster, if they do alter their pricing scheme and offer something that will be, of competition to Netflix's current pricing scheme, they need to now enhance their collection so that they can live up to their name, because we know Blockbuster has the ability. They have the capability of doing this. They do, and that's why I think they have a wide open door here to really move in. Now, we talk about really what we receive in terms of streaming media, because we know DVDs, Blu-rays, and so forth, they're not out of the game. People still like to still like to buy DVDs, still like to buy Blu-rays, because mainly the extras. They like the extras on these mediums. It's only a matter of time before we see the extras that are going to come with the streaming mediums. Once that comes, well, then that's a whole nother ball game. However, as of right now, DVDs and Blu-rays are still popular enough that companies can make money off of them. I mean, there's a decline in terms of what people are buying, how much people are spending, how many DVDs that are being sold, the Blu-rays are being sold. But it's enough to in other words, offer your own pack. Say Netflix, Blockbuster, these companies that are offering multiple packages. You can get a DVD at one at a time, unlimited a month, of course, but one at a time. You can only have one at a time, rather than simply just disowning DVDs or disowning Blu-rays and simply only offering streaming media. That, I think, is going to be the turning point there, because Blockbuster only, I'm telling you right now, Blockbuster only has a certain amount of time to move in here. It's not an unlimited amount of time, because the amount of people that are angry at Netflix, thousands, when they receive that email in their inboxes about the price hike, they were angry. And I wouldn't be surprised if thousands already have left Netflix. So Blockbuster does not have an unlimited amount of time to move in to take advantage of this, because it's only that, plus the fact that DVDs and Blu-rays are probably not going to be around for that much longer either. I'm telling you. And we've talked about whether CDs are going to die, whether Blu-rays or DVDs are going to die eventually. Well, obviously, look at VHSs, look at tapes, cassette tapes. They've went away because of new mediums. Well, streaming media is the next generation. Once anything can be accessed via streaming media, having less in so many cases is better. Not having the clutter of so many DVDs around all over the floor. You know what I mean? I understand you like to have DVDs. You go to, to a premiere, you have the actors sign the DVDs. There are pluses. But I'm telling you, they're going to go the way of the older mediums, and streaming media is going to take over, and that's why there's a very limited window, a very small window. Blockbuster has to move in here. And I would like to see them move in, because I love competition. You know how I feel about competition. It leads to better innovation. So
yeah, plus it gives us better deals. The more competition out there, the better deals for us. So we actually make out at the end. But do you think, now I know on Netflix you had to be part of the contract, you had a terms of service agreement. So part of that terms of service agreement was that you had to stay within this contract, but the terms of service could change, like apparently it did now. So do you think that, Netflix, I wouldn't say suckered them, but lured them into that sweet, sweet deal until they got enough people in there, and then divided the services up to where, they got enough people on this contract. So we can now change the terms of service and make more money. And even though that there was thousands of people leaving, Netflix is still getting their money. Well,
the thing is, I'm glad you also brought that up, because of course they did that. Of course they knew what they're doing. They knew they had a decent-sized customer base. Now, they're probably thinking, if we lose this percentage of customers, even with the price hike, we're looking at it, we're looking at it in a supply and demand type of way. the hike is almost double of what we did offer for comparable plans. So if we lose this many people, we'll still be making out well. However, it's not going to take much more than if they only lose thousands to get right around that even mark. And that is when that is when Netflix has to make a decision, whether they go back to the way they had it before, or if it's too late, because what if Blockbuster takes advantage, as I just mentioned, less than a few minutes before. They take advantage right now. Are the people that have moved over to Blockbuster going to go back to Netflix if they change back to their original plan? Clearly not, because they don't trust them. They don't trust if they're not going to go back to another separated plan or something. So it's now in both places, both parties now have major decisions to make. How far does Netflix want to go with this? Because there are clearly thousands of people upset. Blockbuster knows this now because they're suffering. It's not far before they're going to go bankrupt. I mean, they're not doing well at all, even with the streaming media platform they have, because Netflix is that much more powerful. They moved in when Blockbuster wouldn't step up to the plate. Now Blockbuster needs to step up to the plate and do something to combat what Netflix has done here. And I think they're going to do that, and I think you're going to see that. Mark my words, because Blockbuster is not stupid. They're not stupid. They know what they're doing. So it's going to be interesting to see this. I love Netflix. Don't get me wrong. I just like to see competition. I think it breeds great innovation. So we'll definitely follow this, and we'll see where it goes. We will see where it goes. But I'm glad we did go into this. Absolutely. We do have to move into the next item on the itinerary. That is right. Is technological multitasking ruining our abilities to communicate? Think about it. Could you imagine going to work and not multitasking? I don't know, right? We're going to talk about this in just a bit. Also, your blast from the past coming up, too. So quite a bit. You don't want to go anywhere. But before we get into that, if all of you will just take a moment to listen to what I'm going to be telling you here. I'd like to thank our sponsor here. This portion of the 299th episode of Take Two is brought to you by Audible.com, and we thank Audible for their generous support of the Take Two program, as well as the Voices on the Net network. Now listen up, ladies and gentlemen, because Ronnie and I have an excellent deal for each and every one of you. You don't have to spend a dime. You don't. That's right. We'll give you one free audiobook and a 14-day free trial to browse, get this, over 85,000 audiobooks and counting. Always adding great audiobooks, new audiobooks to their service. Really the premier one on the web, the premier service on the web, because nobody's been able to step in and take over Audible because they're that good. Will it ever happen? Well, somebody's going to try. There are companies already trying. They just have not succeeded yet. That's why Audible's that great. They really are. Well, we're going to give you that free audiobook and that 14-day, that 2-week free trial. All you need to do to take advantage of this great offer is go to audibletrial.com/take2. That is right. That is audibletrial.com/take2 to take advantage. Ronnie and I are both subscribers. We enjoy it immensely. We know you will, too. The thing is, we're that confident that you'll enjoy the free trial that you'll want to continue paying, or you want to continue being a member. If after 14 days you continue to enjoy it, you just simply pay. That's it. It will pay. It'll charge your credit, your debit card, whatever method of payment you use. To find out pricing information, you go to the site audibletrial.com/take2. You'll be able to check all of that information out. You do have to enter a payment method, but you get the free trial and the free audiobook regardless of whether you keep it or cancel it. But we're that confident that you'll want to keep it. So you want to take advantage of this, definitely. As always, we thank Audible for their generous support of the Take Two show, as well as the Voices on the Net network. All right, Ronnie, get this. Multitasking. Now, would you ever think that a business or a company or somebody at the head of a company or a CEO or somebody that is managing you would ever want to get rid of multitasking in a business, in a workplace? Would you ever think that whatsoever? Honestly.
No, I thought that's what they wanted.
Right.
Someone that could multitask, get the things done and done right.
Right. You would think that they would want employees that knew how to multitask, because you could do more than more things more than one thing at once. Get more done in a short period of time. However, the concept of focusing on one thing at a time is actually up for debate, because they feel people could get one thing, if they focus on one thing, they can get it done. They'll be able to do a better job on whatever it is they're focusing on at a time, that is. However, have we really moved into a period of time, thanks to computers and due to computers and the technology we have in front of us, available to us, where we've moved into a time where multitasking is just a part of our everyday lives? Because regularly, whether we're home, whether we're at work, whether we're in school, we're multitasking. You're in class, you're listening to your teacher, and you're texting at the same time. You may not be allowed to, but you're doing it anyway. At work, people are texting while they're in a meeting. If you're at home at the dinner table, you have your phone out. You may even have your iPad at the table, too. So everybody's multitasking, and it's become second nature to us in our lives. It really has. It's become. I bring that up because we're used to it now. It's become trivial. It's become a mainstream factor in our lives, I think. And getting rid of it, is that really such a good idea? I want to hear what you have to say about this. Where do you stand here in terms of whether technological multitasking is ruining our ability to communicate and so forth?
I don't think it's ruining our ability to communicate. I think it depends on how much of the internet, and there's, when you're talking about the internet, you're talking about being in the office. So you have the emails, you have company emails, internal, external. Different functions are going on at the same time. I don't think that is the issue. I think the issue is perhaps more like we are not able to maybe focus on one issue that's going on. Let's just say you have a problem that's going on within the office, or you have a plan that you have to design. Are you really putting everything that you have into it, or are we just kind of skimming the surface on it, not really thinking in depth, just kind of going on and answering the minimal part of that we can, because we're not really dwelling on that one. We're too busy doing everything else. But if you take one obstacle out of your way, you're able to actually focus maybe a bit more into that one issue that you have to do, versus multitasking all at the same time. Because I know there's people that out there that can listen to the TV, talk on the phone, and so forth, but they're not really giving you the full attention, because you'll be like, yeah, I hear you, yeah. Then you ask them a real question. Yeah, yep. And there's an answer that should have been no. And they're just kind of like, they hear the noise, but they're not really into the noise as to what the noise is actually telling them.
Right. Well, get this, listen, because I'm not necessarily against the idea of focusing on one thing and focusing on it well and doing it well. I just think we've really reached a point in our lives where we're so used to multitasking that it's just a part of us. It's like, all right, listen. We learn how to focus on maybe one thing at work, but does that necessarily mean putting down the phone while working on it? You're focusing on one thing at work, but you still have the phone out. Then again, if you're really focusing on something and getting it done and you're getting paid for it, your mind should be focused on that project in the first place. Now, get this. In terms of what we're talking about, Dr. John LaPook wrote an article, a piece right here, talking about this, and we're basing the discussion off of this. Now, a little more than a year ago, right here, somebody by the name of Deborah Burke was having dinner with a friend of hers, and she's a world-renowned architect. She was fed up before she had even taken a single bite of her dinner. She was so fed up because that morning she had caught two of her young architects, that's right, texting each other, and they were less than 6 feet from each other. So she was upset because they were in the same room and they weren't talking amongst one another. In other words, she's the lead architect or a manager or a CEO, for that matter, comparable to that. And managers may want to talk to their employees if something is going on. If they're having a problem, they don't want to necessarily receive an email or a text or even a phone call, for that matter. They would like the employee to come to their office, talk to them face to face, then they can work the problem out. Whatever happened to that? I'm not necessarily against that, because I would want to know that an employee would want to come to me if there was a problem. Absolutely. Come to my office, talk to me face to face. Don't email me, don't text me, this, that, and the other thing. I'm not necessarily saying get rid of texting and get rid of email. I'm just saying there are certain places where the old-fashioned way, if we want to put it, is better off in that aspect.
Yeah.
Talking to other people, if you're talking to a friend in the same room, texting, that has become kind of mainstream in itself, right? I mean, so many people do that nowadays.
Yeah. You could be in the same house and you're still texting each other different.
Right.
Why don't they just go up there and ask? But you're right about the communication skills that it actually you receive versus what you're going to receive in an email or a text message. When you're in an internal office, that there's certain things that require that in-person contact because you've got to make sure that the person understands what the message is that you're trying to get across. You've got the giver of the message, you've got the receiver of the message. So to make sure that both of you are on the same plane, the same idea, the same concept, the same zone, that requires mostly an in-person type of communication because you can ask the questions. You don't have to wait for time of sending the email or sending the text. When you can actually see the person, you see their body language, you see everything about them that you're able to more put together to understand that communication process. In the emails, we're not really able to do so in that stance. I think it's more of a communication error on a lot of us that you just feel that it's normal everyday process versus in-person communication.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, anyhow, Miss Burke right here, she was so fed up that she created a rule system, literally getting rid of, get this folks, not getting rid of, but limiting texting, email, internet use, and multitasking. Absolutely. She felt that needed to be limited. And in other words, that's why I said get rid of. Get rid of it in so many ways during the day at work. She felt that, listen, if you want to check your email, you do it at this point in the day, and that's it. Now, these are the rules right here. You can check email each morning, again at lunch, and once more before you leave for the day. Internet use is only for research, and no multitasking whatsoever. Now, that's easier said than done. Producer Sally Rosen and Miss Burke shot before and after footage for a CBS Evening News segment. Initially, the employees were skeptical about this, as would any employee, I'm sure, and anybody would be. However, a year later, it was quite surprising. The employees actually stated that the experiment was a success. They stated that now they're more focused. They feel they're more focused. Rather than emailing their manager or their CEO or whomever, now they're going to that individual, that manager, that CEO, when they have a problem. If they want to show somebody a design, plans or something, if you're an architect, your lead architect, rather than emailing the plan, scanning it and emailing it as normally you would do probably nowadays, they go up to the lead architect and they give the plans to them. They show them the plans. They talk amongst one another. They talk about the plans. What can they do to change them? Explain where certain things are going to go. And so forth. So that it's surprising to note that this was a success in the minds of those that were in the experiment, conducted this research. Those that took part in this research, and Miss Burke conducted this research because she felt that it was becoming a problem. She did not want her employees to focus on text messaging or in the same room, nonetheless, with other employees when they should be focusing on their work. And this is really the debate right here, is just how much is too much, because it's an everyday thing we're used to. Right. We're used to technology, multitasking. We really are. But the question is limiting it as much as Miss Deborah Burke limited it. Now, they found it to be a success. Would it work in every workplace as it did in this field? That's the thing. That's the question that you have to bring up. Would it be as effective in, say, a doctor's office, an emergency room? Would it be as effective if you were a lawyer? You know what I mean? Would it be as effective, say right now, as a broadcaster, all right? I've got 5 computers in front of me. How could I limit the amount of multitasking that I do as I'm doing this? I need to have this computer up because I'm recording video. I have to have this up because I'm recording audio. I have to have this one up because I base what I'm discussing or talking about with you off of certain things I'm reading. This right here takes care of the audio stream. This right here takes care of the chat room. I have to see what the listeners are saying. If they add some insight. I'm running a board right here. How could I not multitask? You understand what I'm saying? There are certain fields that may work more.
There are certain areas that you have to.
Right.
But there's other businesses in the industry that brainstorming ideas need to be done in person.
Right.
You're not going to feed off of each other via a text or anything like that. It requires in-person thing. I know the place I used to work at. I never knew who the CEO was of the company. I never knew. I did not know who signed the checks. I saw the name. I never knew what they looked like because they only communicated with you through email. That's it. So you could either have miscommunication because you didn't understand what this person was saying in the email, because there was no expression, there was nothing. It was just a flat out mandatory across the board. Everybody got the same email. There was no communication whatsoever. You had no idea who this person was. There was nothing. It was just like a blank slate. You're just talking to a computer screen, not knowing who was on the other side.
Right.
But there was no brain. If you had an idea, you had to type it out on the computer, send it to them, and then he would mass it out whether or not he liked the idea. Well, what happens if there was something he didn't like about it, but yet that, it helped me develop a different plan using their ideas, their concepts, and instill that into the idea that was originated. There was no way to do that because it was either yay or nay. That was it. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. And I think in-person type of communication works much better.
Absolutely. Now, there's no debate. I don't think, Ronnie, you would debate with me here if I were to bring up that this is very counterproductive. It is. Absolutely. But counterintuitively, it does seem that in certain fields that it would be maybe a benefit to limit some of the things we do in terms of multitasking, because it may be, in other words, the architect field, if you're an architect and you're working on plans and this, that, I think maybe it would be beneficial to you and your lead architect, designer, whomever, if you were to be in the same room talking to them over the designs you've just created rather than emailing them. I think that would work out fine. But in the broadcasting field, I think I know you need multitasking. You need to be able to multitask in order to be as successful a broadcaster as, say some of the others out there, some of the more prevalent ones, pertinent ones. Now, it's just the way it is, and I truly believe that. There's a Stanford study that goes into, though, cognitive control in media multitaskers here. And I do want to read a bit of this here. So just let me read a part of this. And before we head into the blast from the past, I didn't want to get into this. Chronic media multitasking is quickly becoming ubiquitous, although processing multiple incoming streams of information is considered a challenge for human cognition. Now, a series of experiments addressed whether there are systematic differences in information processing styles between chronically heavy and lightweight or light media multitaskers. A trait media multitasking index was developed to identify groups of heavy and light media multitaskers. These two groups were then compared among established cognitive control dimensions. Now, results showed that heavy media multitaskers are more susceptible to interference from irrelevant environmental stimuli and from irrelevant representations in memory. Get that? This led to the surprising result that heavy media multitaskers performed worse, I repeat worse, on a test of task switching ability, likely due to reduced ability to filter out interference from the irrelevant task set. Now, these results demonstrate that media multitasking, a rapidly growing societal trend, is associated with a distinct approach to fundamental information processing. Note how this Stanford study agrees with the author of what we were just basing our discussion off of. And it's interesting that we find that out. But if you go more into it, I did not read the entire study. I'd be willing to bet that there are certain fields that multitasking does work better in. Now, I'm not saying focusing on one thing is a bad thing, because it's not. You would want to focus on one thing. Clearly, you'd be able to. Your mind can only handle so much, in other words. So if you focus on one thing, you might be able to do that one thing better, right? I mean, if you think about it. But I'm not saying that multitasking is necessarily a bad thing. It isn't, because clearly we've been, those of us that have been brought up around, multitasking, you would clearly find that it's a benefit in many fields, I would say.
Yeah, because you find yourself not realizing that that's what you're doing, because it's just natural. You were raised that way, that that's just the way it is. But I can understand if there was somebody older that didn't really utilize a lot of the internet or even some of the technology, the things that we have out there right now, that they would be probably a little bit harder, because it's going to cause more concentration on how to use that particular instrument, that particular, keyboard, the iPod, anything like that, it's going to take them more because they haven't learned the way, it's just kind of like secondhand for us. But from other people, it's a pretty tedious process.
Oh, absolutely.
So I guess, for them, in person would be better than that. But, one thing do not do is be in customer service and be on your cell phone at the same time.
Well,
that isn't going to work.
No, that would not be good. You do want to focus on the customer. That's not professional. There has to be a bit of common sense involved. There really does have to be common sense involved with this. Noticeably, you're going to be multitasking more than likely at home if you have a couple of computers. Even with one computer, you're going to be playing a game and talking on the cell phone at the same time. People drive, they talk on the cell phone at the same time. They're multitasking in terms of that. Just how much can our minds handle, and whether or not our minds are as if we're actually doing a better, if we're understanding things better by multitasking, by reading more than one article. You're reading a half one here, a quarter of one there, a half one here, 75% of one there. If that is better than simply reading one from start to finish and then another one from start to finish, and that there have been studies that have that have been conducted that we've gone into even talking about that, and it's still being there are still many being conducted, and we're going to be talking about this probably quite a bit more because this is something that is probably going to be an endless discussion because there's so much that we can go into. But we do have to head into the blast from the past. That is right, on this 299th episode of the show. That is right. One more. That's it. One more, and we'll be at that's it. We're going to be at 300th the 300th tomorrow. That's it. Pretty crazy that we're almost there, but what do you say we take the time machine, Ronnie, into the past? You want to go into the past with the listeners?
Yes. Let's go to the past.
What do you think we talked about? What do you think the time machine's going to choose? What do you think it's going to go? Well, we're going to find out right now because here you go. This is your blast from the past. Enjoy, everybody. All right, well, here we go. Cloud Girlfriend, folks. And it's a startup company that provides males with the quote-unquote perfect girlfriend online. Yeah. It's basically, if you're a lonesome guy or a lonely guy and you don't have a girlfriend, well, obviously, less the lonely part, you can use this service. And believe it or not, there's a waiting list to actually use this company's features. They'll provide you with a girlfriend online, an actual girl behind the computer, and what they'll do is they'll post messages on your Facebook that they're your girlfriend, where you can make your ex jealous, and there's so many other things you can do too. We'll go into that, but there is a lot of controversy behind this. There is, whereas you're paying for something that is actually illegal in the real world, physically, prostitution. Now you're paying for something over the internet. Is this technically e-prostitution? You may not be physically having sex with a person, but you're paying for somebody to post messages. Who knows what they're going to be posting? Now, I don't know how quick or how far they can go with the messages, how sensual they're going to be, but still, that's what I first thought of when I heard of Cloud Girlfriend, this company that provides people with girlfriends they pay for. Am I right or am I right? Is that what you thought of originally when
I
you
originally
heard this?
started reading it? That's right. The first thing that came to my mind is, wow, we've jumped into a whole different ballgame of prostitution here. But
yeah,
I decided to check into this.
Yeah. What'd you check out?
Well, I have a friend that's single, so I decided to use him as a guinea pig. So I signed him up.
You did?
I'm doing a test. I am actually doing a Ronnie test.
You really signed somebody up?
Yeah.
Really? And you got on... Oh, so you're on the waiting list.
I'm on the waiting list.
So,
okay. He's on the waiting list.
He's on the waiting list. Ah, okay.
He's on the waiting list.
But you have to pay for this.
Yes, he has to pay for it.
He's paying
wants to be the
for it.
guinea pig. So all I want to know is I want to see how this works, what happens on it.
All right.
So he's my guinea pig.
Okay.
I'm putting him on there, and we're going to see how this goes about. I told him, just as long as he doesn't get too carried away with her. But they're also starting a new site, get this, for the females, but it's going to be a limited version. That's going to be kind of a different thing. I'm not signing up for that one, though. I'll stick to the real deal, but I'm going to use my friend as a guinea pig.
Yeah. Whatever happened, though, Ronnie, to the days of sending flowers to yourself? To make your ex jealous. That's another reason. That's something else I thought of here. You would use this service, obviously, to maybe make your ex jealous or to try and impress other people on your Facebook page. You add random people Many of you may have Facebook friends, but I'm sure, as Ronnie and I have talked about when we had the great debate versus Twitter and Facebook likes versus Twitter tweets, which one is more beneficial to a company or just in general. So we went into that, and of course, Facebook being more personalized, where you actually know most of the people on your Facebook profile. However, there are a lot of people that don't know a lot of the people on their Facebook profile. A lot of them are just random people that they just add. For instance, me, I get a lot of ads from fans, from listeners, but I also know a lot of the people on my Facebook profile. Very, very cool.
E-prostitution.
Wow. E-prostitution. Yeah, the thing is, I think that's look at services online that allow you to purchase a girlfriend, literally purchase a girlfriend, say for 5-10 days. They'll be your girlfriend just because you paid them, and they'll do whatever you want them to do, virtually, and make people jealous. They'll make people wonder, oh, you have a girlfriend now? What the heck is this? Wow, it's amazing. I mean, there are services that are simply allowing this to go on, and so many people are actually going and doing this. But very good discussion there. Just like any other one we've had quite a bit. If you want to check out any of the shows, any of the Take Two shows, any of the shows anyway, any of them on the network, you go to VOnTheNet.com. You can check them all out. The podcasts are at the website. But that's all the time we have for this 299th episode of the show. That is right. The next time you hear Ronnie and I, it will be episode number 300. 300. That's right, the next major milestone. Won't you all join us, would you? I hope so. That's going to be a big show. You don't want to miss it. You really don't. Until then, it won't be too long until you'll see or hear us again. But until then, we do have to say so long for now. Take care. Much love to you all. You guys and gals are the greatest. Bye-bye.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.